In the heart of the bustling Seljuk Empire, Turco-Persian Sunni Muslim state that controlled extensive regions of the Middle East, Ubayd Allah al-Khatib, a renowned Sunni scholar and influential advisor, spent his day immersed in critical state matters, offering guidance to high officials and shaping religious policy. As the sun dipped low, he strolled through the palace corridors, passing ancient alcoves carved into stone, a sight so familiar he never once suspected danger. Hidden in one of these shadowed niches, a stranger stood motionless, waiting for him. For 5 hours he remained unmovable, trained in the art of stealth and precision, having spent weeks studying Ubayd Allah's movements, learning his paths and routines. At the perfect moment as the advisor drew near, the assassin sprang from his hiding place. With a swift, deadly motion, his concealed dagger found its mark, and Ubayd Allah collapsed, his life extinguished. The assassin melted back into the darkness, leaving the palace in stunned silence, with only whispers of betrayal lingering in the air. In the late 11th century, a shadowy order emerged, whose tactics and unwavering devotion would shake the very foundations of empires. This secretive group blended espionage, philosophy, and targeted violence, becoming the stuff of legends. Operating from hidden mountain fortresses, they waged a clandestine war, infiltrating enemy strongholds and executing high-profile figures with chilling precision. Their unwavering commitment and elusive methods not only instilled fear, but also left an indelible mark on history, influencing the very term assassin. Their story is not just about power, it's about a bold new way of waging war in the shadows. A charismatic leader named Hasan-i Sabbah emerged. Born and raised in Persia, Hasan broke away from the established Fatimid leadership and founded the Nizari Ismaili sect. He believed that true power did not reside in overwhelming military might, as exemplified by the vast armies of the Seljuk Empire, but rather in the art of subterfuge, covert operations, and the precise targeted elimination of key figures. Hasan-i Sabbah's methods combined psychological warfare with surgical tactical strikes, aiming to destabilize larger forces by eliminating their leaders instead of engaging in direct, conventional battles. This innovative approach transformed the Nizari movement into a formidable force that defied the expectations of its era. His bold leadership laid the foundation for a legacy that is steeped in mystery and myth. In fact, he and each of the later leaders of the assassins eventually became known in the West as the Old Man of the Mountain. This nickname, popularized by travelers like Marco Polo, alludes to the sect's control over the imposing Alamut Castle, a mountain fortress that came to symbolize both their power and their secretive nature. In 1190, Hasan set his sights on a remote fortress in the rugged Elburz Mountains of northern Persia, Alamut. Perched high atop a steep, rocky crag, Alamut was naturally fortified by the mountain itself, making it nearly impregnable. Using a combination of persuasive rhetoric and clever strategy, Hasan convinced the small garrison to surrender peacefully, avoiding any bloodshed. Once in his hands, Alamut became the central heart of his emerging state. The fortress was also known as the Eagle's Nest. For the next 35 years, Hasan transformed this isolated stronghold into a powerful base of operations. From Alamut, he not only consolidated his power but also built an intricate network of spies and agents. These operatives, later known as the fida'i, a term meaning those who sacrifice, also known as assassins, a term that has endured in modern language to denote hired killers. These individuals were meticulously trained in espionage, disguise, and the art of the dagger. Their missions focused on eliminating key political, military, and religious figures who posed threats to the Nizari community. Operated with remarkable precision and dedication. Their ability to infiltrate secure locations and execute high-profile targets instilled fear and uncertainty among their adversaries. They were strategically placed in cities and royal courts across the region, gathering critical intelligence and carrying out covert missions that would undermine his enemies. This secretive network allowed Hasan to extend his influence far beyond the mountains, challenging even the mighty Seljuk Empire and reshaping the political landscape of his time. A pivotal element in the lore of the assassins is the tale of the Hashashin. According to medieval narratives, notably those from travelers like Marco Polo, Hasan-i Sabbah, the leader of the Nizari Ismailis, allegedly used hashish to manipulate his followers. The story suggests that he would intoxicate his fida'i with hashish and then transport them to a lush, paradisiacal garden filled with beautiful women and all the pleasures promised in the afterlife. Upon awakening, these young men were led to believe they had experienced a glimpse of paradise, reinforcing their unwavering loyalty and willingness to sacrifice their lives, trusting that martyrdom would grant them eternal access to this heavenly realm. However, modern scholarship casts doubt on the authenticity of this legend. Historians argue that there is no concrete evidence within Ismaili texts or contemporary accounts to support the claim that hashish was used as a tool for indoctrination. The term Hashashin itself, which evolved into the word assassin, was likely a derogatory label used by rival factions. It is believed that enemies of the Nizaris propagated this narrative to tarnish their reputation, portraying them as drug-addled murderers rather than a disciplined and strategic group. The allure of this story has persisted through the centuries, blending fact with fiction and contributing to the mystique surrounding the assassins. While the image of hashish-fueled warriors embarking on missions under the spell of drugs is compelling, it oversimplifies the complex socio-political and religious dynamics that define the Nizari Ismailis. Their true strength lay in their intricate intelligence networks, strategic fortifications like Alamut, and the profound commitment of their members to their cause. In summary, the legend of the Hashashin serves as a testament to how historical narratives can be shaped and distorted over time, often by those seeking to vilify their adversaries. While the tales of drug-induced visions of paradise are enthralling, they likely do not reflect the reality of the Nizari Ismailis' methods and motivations. In the late 11th and early 12th centuries, the Nizari Ismailis, under the leadership of Hasan, found themselves in direct opposition to the Seljuk Empire, a dominant Sunni dynasty that viewed the Nizaris as heretical insurgents threatening their authority. The Seljuks' attempts to suppress the Nizaris included military campaigns against their strongholds, such as the notable siege of Alamut. Facing the overwhelming military might of the Seljuks, Hasan adopted an unconventional strategy: asymmetric warfare through targeted assassinations. It was a crisp October day in 1092 when Nizam al-Mulk, the powerful vizier of the Seljuk Empire, found himself walking among the crowded streets of Niavand. Was a man of great stature, his presence commanding attention from every corner. But within this crowd, a deadly figure watched him closely, blending in with the masses, waiting for the perfect moment. The assassin, a member of the Nizari Ismaili sect, had been planning this moment for weeks. He had studied Nizam al-Mulk's routine, following his movements through the city and noting the times when the vizier would be most vulnerable. He knew the layout of the city and had chosen a spot along the path where the crowd was thick, and where he could easily hide in plain sight. The assassin had dressed as a wandering Sufi mystic, a figure common in the area. His simple robes, worn and faded, blended seamlessly with the others in the crowd. His face was partially covered by a turban, the cloth hiding most of his features, but his eyes, sharp and focused, darted back and forth, locked on his target. He carried no obvious weapons, but beneath his robe, he held a dagger, carefully concealed but ready for the task ahead. The assassin was waiting for Nizam to approach. He could feel the tension in the air as the vizier's procession drew closer. The assassin's heart raced, but he kept calm. This moment had been prepared for meticulously, and he couldn't afford a mistake. As Nizam approached, the assassin subtly positioned himself along the route, pretending to shuffle through the crowd aimlessly, like a devout mystic in search of blessings. When the vizier was within arm's reach, he stepped forward, his movements swift and deliberate. Without warning, the assassin drew his dagger from beneath his robe and lunged toward the vizier, aiming for his abdomen. The suddenness of the attack left Nizam no time to react. The blade struck with precision, piercing through his robes and into his body. Nizam al-Mulk gasped in shock, clutching his stomach as blood began to pour from the wound. The crowd erupted in panic, and the assassin quickly vanished, slipping back into the shadows of the crowd like a ghost. His disguise allowed him to melt away without being noticed, his escape planned with the same meticulous attention to detail as his attack. Nizam was rushed to safety, but it was too late. The damage was fatal. The assassin's mission was complete. As the vizier breathed his last, word of the assassination spread like wildfire throughout the city and the empire. The death of Nizam al-Mulk sent shockwaves through the Seljuk leadership, leaving them scrambling to understand who was behind the attack. It was an act of violence that would change the course of history, plunging the Seljuk Empire into deeper instability. Nizam was a difficult target to reach, so taking him down sent a clear message. If we could get him, we could get anyone. The legacy of the assassins has endured through the centuries, embedding itself into both historical records and popular culture. Their unwavering commitment and tactical ingenuity have become emblematic of the term assassin. In April 1192, the streets of Tyre, a coastal city in the Kingdom of Jerusalem, became the setting for a daring assassination that would send shockwaves through the Crusader states. Conrad of Montferrat, a prominent Crusader leader and recently elected King of Jerusalem, was a man of ambition and vision. His marriage to Isabella of Jerusalem solidified his claim to the throne, and his plans to strengthen Christian holdings in the Holy Land were well underway. However, his ascent threatened various political interests, setting the stage for a dramatic turn of events. On the cool evening of April 28, 1192, after a satisfying dinner, Conrad stepped out into the quiet streets of Tyre. Instead of a bustling crowd, he found himself in a narrow, silent alley illuminated by the faint glow of distant lanterns and the soft echo of city sounds far away. The warm Mediterranean air carried the sense of spices and sea, casting a deceptive calm over the scene. As Conrad made his way along the shadowed passage, lost in thought and the pleasant memories of his meal, two figures emerged from the darkness. They had been waiting there, hidden like phantoms, dressed in the modest robes of monks to blend seamlessly with the local Christian community. Their presence, concealed by the stillness of the alley, went unnoticed until, in a single swift moment, the silence was shattered. With deliberate precision, the two men stepped forward. In an instant, their monk-like disguises gave way to the glint of concealed daggers. The flash of steel briefly lit the dim corridor as they advanced with lethal intent. Before Conrad could react, the assassins struck ruthlessly. The daggers found their mark, and in a heartbeat, shock and pain overwhelmed him as his life began to slip away in the quiet gloom of the alley. The psychological impact of the assassins' actions extended beyond the immediate loss of leaders. It created an atmosphere where officials had to constantly guard against unseen threats. This method of targeted elimination allowed the assassins to punch above their weight, compensating for their smaller numbers and limited resources. The intertwined tales of Ubayd Allah al-Khatib, Nizam al-Mulk, and Conrad of Montferrat reveal a period defined by religious schisms and political intrigue, a time when deep divisions and unyielding ambition reshaped empires. Hassan's bold vision transformed a small, determined group into a force that could strike fear into the hearts of even the mightiest rulers. The elite fida'i, trained in the art of stealth and precision, sacrificed everything to protect their cause, leaving behind a legacy that has captured the imagination of generations. Today, the shadow of the assassins looms large in history and popular culture. Their story, marked by mystery, sacrifice, and unparalleled cunning, reminds us that sometimes the greatest power lies not in numbers, but in the relentless commitment to a cause. In the echoes of history, their name endures, a legacy that continues to fascinate, inspire, and provoke wonder.